Hi, boys and girls. Today is lesson 4-7, and it's explaining subtraction strategies. So today it's all about explain subtraction strategies. So here we go. Okay, boys and girls. So like I said, today is lesson 4-7, explain subtraction strategies. I'm going to say that one more time, guys. Lesson 4-7, explain subtraction strategies. After today's lesson, boys and girls, you're going to be able to say, I can explain the strategies I use to solve subtraction problems. Okay? So you're going to have not only equations where they're just numbers, and sometimes you will also have word problems. So you got to tell me the strategy you used and why you used them, okay? So we're going to get started with our trusty solve and share. Let me get a good pen today. Let's see, what do I want? You know, I'm loving the, you know, let's start with the, let's go green. Let's go green for now, okay? So see the solve and share, it's always in the same place, okay? And the solve and share today says, boys and girls, choose a strategy to solve the problem. Jeff has 12 apples. He gives away 6 apples. That's an important part of the story. He gives away those 6 apples. How many apples does he have left? So we're going to use words, objects, or pictures to explain our work, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use a strategy that we like. So right now I'm going to review some of the strategies, okay? You'll be like, oh my gosh, Mr. Fuzz. So one of the strategies that we really didn't review yet this semester, a semester for subtraction during our math lesson so far, is how to subtract on a number line. And I wanted you to remember, because you should have learned this last year when we were in class, to subtract on a number line, we start at the bigger number and count back to the smaller number, okay? So our number is 12, and he gives away 6 apples. So Mr. Fuzz is going to enlarge this a little bit and then move myself over so I can see my number line. Okay, guys? So let's put this up a little more. And of course, things fly around because Mr. Fuzz is still learning this stuff. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. So now we have our number line, and notice it goes from 0 to 20, okay? And we know that we were starting with 12. So we were starting on 12. That's how many apples he started with, okay? And then we count back. If you notice, the numbers get smaller when we go in this direction, okay? So that's the direction we want to do. If we're subtracting, our big number that we start with always gets smaller, okay? And we know that he gave 6 away. So we start at the 12 and we count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is where we land. So we know our answer is 6. So we started on 12. We took away 6. Because there are 6 steps here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we landed on 6. We know that's a doubles fact. Cool. So that's one of the strategies you could use to solve this problem. Another strategy we could use is when we used the bar diagram, the bar model. And we know that when we do the bar model, this one I'm going to draw easy and do a bar model. Do the whole box up top, that's smaller, and then we do our little bars here. And we know that the 2 parts that the bars cover, remember this one? The 2 boxes that the bar covers makes the big number up top, okay? So we know that the big number up top is 12, and we know the little number down here is 6. And what I can do is, if I want to count on from 6 and then stop at 12, I can just draw my my circles. So I'm at 6. This is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now in this part, to add to the 6 is what my answer is. And we already know that the answer is, what's in my circle? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one we know 12 minus 6 equals 6. So this is a great strategy too, and you can use either one. And then the last one, you know, it's my favorite. It's using the tens frames, right? And so Mr. Fuzz is going to see if he can get this to work well with this. Okay. And there, if you show me any of these strategies by drawing them out, then I know you're able to explain your strategy to me. Because if you get the right answer, that works for me. Okay. So the last one we're going to do is 2 10 frames. Remember, 1, 2. This Fuzz getting pretty good at this now. You guys are actually doing pretty good too when you're in class. So I'm assuming you're going to do really good when you come back. Remember, 4 lines in the middle, and that makes, however many that makes, 10. We'll do another one down here. Zippity-doo-dah. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Doesn't have to be perfect, you know that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back up and we'll grab a red and we'll do our dots. So we know we're going to start with a total of 12 apples, right guys? 12 is what the number we have to have. So we know that that's a full 10, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, correct? And then 11 and 12. So if the number's above 10, we definitely need 2 10 frames, right? And that's the number we start with. And remember, when we cross off, whether we're moving numbers to add to make a 10 or whether we're subtracting, we always want to just cross off the ones we're not using with one line, so we can always go back and check it out, okay? So we're going to do that here. And we know we're going to take away how many? 6, right? Let's erase that for a minute. Let's see if I can get my eraser. There's the eraser. Let's scribble that out. Oh, erased everything. Beautiful. Draw. Let's get the red. And we know we're going to take away, he gives away 6 apples. We know that he does not have them anymore. So we have to give away 6 apples, pretend. And we're going to give away 1. I could have done that a little better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that means the ones we did not cross off, boys and girls, are what's left over, right? How many are left? And that's how we use the double tens frame strategy. So I'm going to review those strategies again, because that's why Mr. Fuzz made this paper bigger, just so I could show you, okay? We have the tens frame here. So this is the tens frame strategy. This is model is the bar model or diagram. And this is the number line. And you can use whichever you like, whichever one's easier for you guys, okay? But remember, when you do your work, try to remember to put the strategy on your paper when you take a picture of it to submit it in Envisions, okay? So that right there is how we're gonna do it. So Jeff started with 12 apples. He gives away, and those are cue words, right? That say he gives away, he doesn't have them anymore, 6 of the apples. And they wanna know, the question is one of the most important things about a story problem. They wanna know how many apples are left, okay? All right, let's move on to guided practice. Let's see if I can do this without making anybody dizzy, including myself. All right, let's start right here. Let's make that a little bigger so Mr. Fuzz can really see it, the visual learning guide, okay? So I'm gonna move, I want myself that big. What are you doing, Mr. Fuzz? Stick you up here in the corner, okay? So remember, I'm gonna say this every time. You guys are gonna be like, oh, we know Mr. Fuzz. But the comic strip always has the answer to the convince me. See, I didn't even know what the convince me says yet, but I know I'm gonna find the answer with Emily up here in the comic strip, okay? So, and if you notice, she did kind of the same things that we did, right? She did a number line. She did the tens frames. And then she did also the bar diagram, the bar model, okay? So let's see what she says. Maybe she can help us out. You can use different ways to solve subtraction problems. You can count on or count back to solve subtraction, right? And we counted back. We started on the first number like she did on the 10. Then we counted back each step. We know how many steps we got to take because we know how much we got to subtract, right? So we took the 3 steps away and we landed on this guy, this crazy guy right there. So we know that 10 minus 3 equals 7. Awesome. And then let's go ahead and go to the tens frame. We take 12 minus 8. So we know that if we take 2 away originally at the bottom, we know we're left with 10. Now I just got to subtract the rest. So 2, 3, 4, you know what I'm going to do? 5, 6, 7, and 8 were crossed out. Okay, so how many is she left with? How many in this 10 frame is she left with that were not crossed out? Okay, how many? So 4. So we know that 12 is what we started with. We took 8 away, and we landed, or excuse me, we ended up with only 4 left that were not crossed out. All right, and that's the double 10 frame strategy. And then we have the bar diagram, and we're going to think, remember, thinking addition to subtract. So we know that 6 plus a number is going to equal 14. If you see that down here, that's what we're thinking. Okay, and our bar diagram, our bar model, helps us a great deal. We know that 14 is the whole, and we know that 6 is the part, and we got to find the missing part. So if we know that, remember what we could do? We could either count on, which I like to do, is probably the easiest thing for you guys to do. So we start at 6. We're going to stop at 14, and we're going to draw the circles as we count. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I know that the part that's missing is this guy in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And look at that, guys. Little snowman there. My number 8. So 6 plus 8 is going to equal, bada bing, bada boom, 14. And then that means we know if, like the fact families, 14 takes away 6 is going to be 8. All right? Great job. Let's go down to the convince me and see if we can't find Emily's advice or answer down there, okay? Let's do it this way. There we go, convince me. So the convince me says, use the number line above. How can you count on to find 10 minus 3? Well, I'm gonna give you a hint. It's so, you're like, Mr. Fuzz, she didn't show us that. It's not up there. I can't believe what you're saying. Well, what we could do is, if we're counting on, remember, we could think the fact family, right? We're going to kind of combine the number line and the thinking addition to subtract. So what we would do is we would start on 7 plus a number. Excuse me. We start with 3 plus a number equals the 10. Remember the fact family? It's got all the 3 people in there. They're just mixed up. And now this is what we got to find out with. So we would start on 3, count, yep, how am I doing? Count on 7 steps. Ooh. Oh, let's try that again. Steps, 7 steps, and we land on 10. So what I'm going to do, boys and girls, I'm going to shrink this really quick. Don't be scared if you didn't copy it down yet or anything, because I'll come back with it. But I'm going to grab a copy of my number line up top, okay? And I'm going to go scoot that down underneath to show you. Let's see, copy and paste. Let's scoot this guy down here. Get down here. Okay, and don't worry about drawing the number line. If you can, great. If not, don't worry about it, as long as you write in the words, okay? Let's see. So, let's push this over here. Where can I put this? Shenanigans. Okay. Let's crop that. I think it'll let me crop. Nope. Okay. So we'll do it down here. Remember what I said, you can use any space you need in order to get your work done, okay? So don't be afraid to use spaces around you, especially on your papers if you have them. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna see what my directions say, and we're gonna see if it works. Let me change my color. Let's change it to, let's go back to the bright green. Okay, so now we're gonna, what did it say? It said start on 3. So we gotta start on the 3, and we gotta take jumps, and we're gonna stop at what number? 10. So let's see how many jumps it takes. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I count how many jumps I took, I know that I added 7. So that missing number right here is no longer a question mark. It's 7. So if I know that 7, 3 plus 7 is 10, I also know that 10 minus 3 is equal to 7, okay? So that's how she's trying to trick you. So you got to be smart in order to really think about what she says in that, okay? And also double check your video when you have the Envisions, the cartoon that you got. I assign that every time, okay? So make sure you really pay attention to that. Okay, so let's go with guided practice. Guided practice says 15 minus 9 equals, well, we'll find out, but let's see if she's right. So this is a little difficult when there's not a lot of space, boys and girls, but I'm going to do the adding on, or are you thinking addition to, we're going to think addition to subtract, okay? Look, not perfect, but I know there's a number 15 in here, and I know one of my parts is a 9. So remember what we do. We start at 9, and we draw our circles, and we count on, but we stop at 15. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. How many circles did we draw? That's right, 6. Nice job, 6. Let's change some color. Mr. Fuzz gets way too involved with his color choices. Probably should just be done with this, but all right, let's look at 9 minus 7. This would probably be a good way because we have a number that's less than 10. Maybe we could use a tens frame. So in this case, we only need one 10 frame. Bonus points if you can tell me why we only need one 10 frame. Exactly, because the 9, neither number is bigger than 10. So we only need the 1. So let's go ahead and draw circles in here. So 9 circles, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Great, and now I have to take 7 of them away. I have to take 7 away. So remember how we're gonna do that? We're gonna cross them out. We're not gonna scribble, we're not gonna erase, because we wanna make sure if we have to check our work, we can still see those circles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we had 9 to begin with. We took away 7, and now we're left with how many are left that did not get crossed out. Awesome, the big 2, okay? Number 2. Let's look at 13 minus 3. I'm thinking that's pretty easy. I think I'm gonna make actually a double tens frame for this one because I know that one of those answers could be close to that, okay? So let's You know what? Colorful today. Let's draw something. Let's draw something crazy. Let's do the violet one, or the whatever that color is. We're going to do 2/10 frame. You might have to do it a little small on your paper, but that's okay. Just try to be careful. Remember, we split it in half, 2 equal parts, and then we divide it or cut it up with 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we do the same thing on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this is a reminder, boys and girls. If we have one of these 10 frames filled up, we know we have a 10. You guys should know that by now, okay? You definitely do. I know you do, because you guys show me great work when you're in class. So let's take my red, and we're going to draw our first number first. We got to draw that first one, the big number, 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now we're with 13. Great. And now what we got to do is, how many do we have to take away from those piles? When we draw it, it's easy because we can just cross it off. So we're going to cross off how many, boys and girls? You're right. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to count the rest. But do we even have to count it? Remember what Mr. Fuzz said. If this guy is still filled up and we know it's a 10 frame, guess what our answer is? You can count it if you want to check. And that's actually not a bad idea. Always check your answers, okay? Well, let's check anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 13 minus the 3, bada bing, bada boom, is 10. Okay, last one. Let's see what would work best with this. I think what we can do is, you know what? We're going to do a number line. How about that? Let's see if I can grab this one again. Maybe not. All right, so let's see. And we're going to push him over here. Oh, that's plenty of room. Perfect. And can even make it slightly bigger just to help us. Okay. All right. So we're going to count back. Okay. Remember, you can count on, but you got to think addition to subtract. But if what I showed you on the beginning of the lesson at the front page with the solve and share, that's also a strategy we can use. So I'm going to go over that one. And that one's going to be, if I can find it, let's try doing it in purple. And we're going to start at 17. Notice they all start with the number that's on top, boys and girls. That's what you always have to do. And we're going to start at 17. There she is, number 1, 7, 17. So that's where I'm going to start. And now I'm going to count back how many steps. You're right. We're going to count back 8 steps. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have to stop. Now, oh my gosh, Mr. Fuzz, I lost count. How many jumps did I take? Well, you can go back and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we took away 8 on the top of the mountains. And where did we land? What's our answer? Our difference is that guy right there. You're right, it's a 9. So I don't want you guys, I know it's a lot that it looks like, oh my gosh, Mr. Fuzz wants us to use every one. Nope. I want you to use whatever you're comfortable with. Mr. Fuzz just wanted to show you the strategies, all the different strategies you could use, okay? You still may have to know the others, but when you're solving problems either in class or on, let's say, a test or in symphony math or anywhere it is, use the strategies you like to use the best. Just you have to make sure you know which one is the best, not just the one you already know. So you got to make sure you know them all. Okay? All right, guys, good luck. I want to see some awesome work, and please take your time on the on the quick check. Make sure you write out all your answers and solve them on paper first before you choose. And make sure you listen carefully to the questions. Okay? All right. Thanks a lot, you guys. Good luck.